to get worn down. And that's one of the keys for Norristown every year is they have to have an offense that can either put a lot of points on the board or really take up a lot of time on the clock. This year looks like they have both, and that's going to really benefit the Norristown defense.
Everybody pitching in on all three teams today, offense, defense, and special teams. All three playing well right now and clicking at the same time. That's really what makes a complete football team.
Absolutely. I mean, when one's down, the other one's got to pick them up. But right now, none of them are down, and that's why you see such an impressive showing.
Swittenberg got 4 on that last carry. We have 3rd and 6. Ernie Torello caught that touchdown earlier on the far side. We have Solomon and Hadrick on this side. Blake back to pass. Looks over the middle to Swittenberg. He'll cut it up the line. That's a great play by Troy Swittenberg. And there were people screaming, "Don't go backwards, don't go backwards." And he just still got yardage out of that.
Speed knows no limits. That's all you can say. And Troy Swittenberg is about as elusive and as fast as they come. What you can't lose in that play is how great the catch was. That's not a ball that you normally get extra yards after. I mean, Troy Swittenberg has to stop, little button hook, turn around. Chris Blake fired that ball. Troy Swittenberg could only catch it with his hands in front of people and had the presence of mind to catch it, bring it down, do the important thing first, and that's get the ball in possession, and then great yardage after the catch.
So Norristown doing everything, even throwing to the running backs over the middle. Now 1st and 9 for Norristown. Blake on the handoff to Swittenberg looking. He is in for another touchdown. Swittenberg, a 9-yard touchdown run. And Norristown putting the points on the board from turnovers by Abington.
And again, it's Troy Swittenberg getting to the line of scrimmage untouched. And he really does some dancing once he gets up into that hole. And it looks like the Norristown offensive line absolutely controlling the line of scrimmage. There is no doubt about that at this point. Just blowing Abington off of the ball and really good downfield blocking. The key is Norristown is sustaining their blocks off the line of scrimmage. That's allowing Troy Swittenberg to get downfield pretty much unharried.
Well, Matt Spicko is a soccer player, and I got to tell you, I don't think he's gotten this much action in a soccer game. Puts another one up, and that's good too. 21-3 for Norristown. Walt, like you were saying about that line, Troy Swittenberg hasn't been really stopped for a negative yardage tonight, and they're just letting him do what he has to do, and they're just saying, all right, Troy, just follow us, and we're going to lead you to the end zone.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. I mean, there are days when your back is going to take a pounding. There are days when there's just going to be no holes, and Troy Swittenberg, great as he is, you hate to say it, but there's going to be a game where he gets 32 yards, and that's all he's going to get. It just happens. It's a fact of life, fact of football. But when you can get a game like this, where he can get pretty easy yardage up to the line of scrimmage and into that defensive backfield, and then he can do the rest, that is how you maximize the skills of your running backs and all your skilled people, and that's with the big guys up front.
So Abington came out and started the game with a nice drive, put 3 points up on the board, and all of a sudden Norristown comes back with 21 unanswered. Kevin Qualley on the kickoff, very short kickoff. That was taken by number 8, Dan Mahan. He just ran out of bounds with that.
Yeah, Mahan had no choice. He had to do the smart thing. That ball bounced up, and because it was so short, Norristown had a guy right there. If that ball starts to come down onto that field, Norristown player is going to scoop that one up, and it's going to be Norristown ball again. So Mahan can't take a chance here. Abington can absolutely not afford any mistakes.
Abington just got to be happy to get their offense back onto the field. Quarterback now in is Francis Benson. That pass was incomplete. Troy Swittenberg was looking for the end zone that time, and he almost had it and was gone.
Yeah, that was going to be his 7th touchdown of the year, but this time from the defensive side of the ball, that ball was luckily thrown way, way short. If that ball's thrown a little more, Troy Swittenberg's the only guy who's going to catch that because the Abington receiver was completely turned around. But that's what happens. Francis Benson comes in. He has played this year. They will alternate quarterbacks based on the series, and obviously Abington not effective with Goodwin in there. But that time, Benson throwing to his receiver's back.
2nd and 10 for Abington. Benson again. We'll carry that time number 22, John Connor.
And Doug White broke that one up. Manhandled Pat Cornell, the guard for Abington. Cornell just could not handle White that time, and he was on him one-on-one. White just plugged that whole thing up. And the back really just couldn't get around him.
So Abington not really establishing anything on this drive with the one running play and the miscommunication on the pass. Benson back to pass on 3rd and 9. He'll roll out right. Looks deep. He was pretty much in between receivers there, incomplete, and it'll be 4th and 9 for Abington.
Troy Swittenberg had the receiver covered that time. And really nowhere for Benson to throw. Norristown dropped back, only 4 guys on the defensive line that time. And they're so athletic, they're real versatile. They can go with the same 11 guys, but go with all kinds of different formations. And that time looked like they almost went into a 4-3 or a 4-4 up front rather than the 5-2, looking just to cover and not pressure the quarterback.
Trey Hadrick deep for Norristown. Kick is high up in the air.
Get away from it.
Norristown won't let that one go. Abington will down it at about the 45-yard line. So once again, great field position for the Norristown Eagles.
Yeah, normally you would say this is great field position, but so far Norristown's gotten the ball twice inside the Abington 30. So this time they'll have to work for their 55 yards, but they have shown big play capability so far tonight. A couple of big passes, a couple of Troy Swittenberg runs over 15 yards.
I gotta tell you, Walt, this is the first 5-day week of school that we've had, so I'm sure these guys are appreciating not having to march 90 yards every single time.
I'm sure they're fresh this early, and you get a game like this, it adds a little spark to you also.
Blake on the pitch to Darryl Johnson. Johnson breaks a tackle. Hit by 2 Abington players across midfield.
And Johnson, considered the fullback, but listed in the program as actually 5 pounds lighter than Troy Swittenberg. But Darryl Johnson brings a lot of power and a lot of speed. And for all you physics majors out there, that speed can also help bring a lot of power. So you saw that time Darryl Johnson turn the corner with speed, then put his head down and go with power. So yet another versatile running back for Norristown to utilize.
Now Norristown 2nd and 4, past midfield. Abington defense got to be wondering, when can we catch our breaths? Handoff is to Swittenberg. He comes up the middle. He just pulled Jeremy Goodwin with him for a couple of yards. Very close to the first down. And Norristown will have a 3rd and very short. Guess not. From up here, it looked like it might have been close, but first down for Norristown.
Chain guys looking to get a little bit of exercise that time, but the referee once again saying first down, guys, you can get back to the sidelines. And Norristown rolling once again.
At least they're into the game, though. At least you know that they ready to jump into action at any time.
And they're ready to come. They're just not paying much attention.
All right, Blake sets the offense. Hand off to Swittenberg. He loses the ball. And the Abington Ghosts have recovered the ball. You don't often see that from Troy Swittenberg.
And Jeremy Goodwin gets his revenge. That last carry, you said, Troy Swittenberg just dragged him along. Goodwin was hanging on for dear life. That time, Goodwin set himself on the corner of the defense as Troy Swittenberg tried to cut into the hole. Goodwin really laid a good hit on him. Stopped Swittenberg right where he was, and then Goodwin reached in with the hand, stripped the ball loose. Looked like he even recovered it.
We have a Norristown player down on the field. be number 78, Doug White. He'll come off the field to get training from Mr. Dennis Flynn. So Abington got to be thinking, wow, we got some good field position, we got some time, let's put some points on the board.
Yeah, that's absolutely what they needed at this point. Another couple Norristown first downs, and whether they score or not, Abington's really going to be reeling. Right now, though, they have a good opportunity.
Abington from the 43-yard line. The pitch out there to Johnson. He turns the corner. Quick burst of speed, and he's pushed out of bounds over on that far sideline by Jameel Butler. But a big gain for Abington. What looked like he almost pitched that ball away when he was giving it to Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson had to turn on the burners just to get that pitch. But once he got it, it was a good thing it was out wide because he used his speed to go straight to the corner and turn it. He turned around Troy Swittenberg, so that's a lot of speed. And then Jameel Butler with good lateral pursuit from the linebacker spot to push him out.
Now Abington in the Norristown territory. Benson, and a great stop right there. Here's we're going to have a penalty on the field, and that'll be a face mask on Darrell Johnson on the tackle.
Yeah, you saw the head of the back Johnson whip around a little bit, and that time it was real good penetration by Darrell Johnson. Read that option well, and you do see Abington now running that option. Looks like Benson runs it a little more than Goodwin does. Kept that ball a long time, and just as he made that pitch, Johnson was there, but using it to bring the man down is going to cost him 15 yards. And Abington, a lot of yardage now.
Norristown usually a very disciplined team, unfortunately with the penalty there.
Yeah, that's one of the things that the option presents. The wishbone option presents a lot of deception and a lot of movement. So when you see a guy get that ball, sometimes you just have to reach out and grab what you can. Obviously, you avoid that, but sometimes you reach out and it's unavoidable.
Now Abington down those at 27 in Norristown. A flag even before.
A little bit of movement that time, real early movement. It looks like quarterback Benson wasn't even set, but Carl Vonderheed jumped. Actually gave away the play too, because it looked like he jumped inside and was going to block down on the Norristown line. So Benson's now going to have to go to the sideline and get a new play.
So Abington giving back some of the gifts that they got from Norristown now. It's 1st and 15. Benson never got rid of that ball, and he just got plowed by the Norristown defense.
Yeah, Abington's been running the option. That's what you call the no option, and Yeboah Cabole gave him no option. Looked downfield, and as he turned to pitch, just Cabole all over him. Great penetration by that Norristown line, and a tremendous individual play by Yeboah Cabole.
And I have to tell you, with that physical Norristown line, that's got to be a scary thing, and seeing those guys coming at you when you're looking to give the ball to somebody and there's nobody to give it to.
Yeah, it's 5 good-sized guys, 5 experienced guys, and really presents problems for a running attack.
4 receivers for Abington. Benson will roll out right. Up top, finds a receiver, and that's a touchdown, folks. It's a great rollout by Francis Benson. Found his receiver in the end zone. Number 22, John Connor. And Abington, all of a sudden, puts 6 right up on the board. And that's a big play for the Abington Ghosts.
And certainly Doug Moister has made a smart call bringing in Francis Benson. Benson has led that offense well, is avoiding the mistakes, and that time laid a beautiful ball out for Connor, who made a great fingertip catch on the run. Point extra is good by Matt Johnson. And now Abington back to 21-10.
It's tough to tell from up in the booth, but apparently that was no good. Well, yet another mistake by the Abington Ghosts, and the way that they're playing, they pretty much need all the points that they can get right now. So,
yeah, that's for sure. That's an important mistake. Could come back to haunt them. I think at this point, with that call, I'm maybe 2 mistakes behind Abington right now, but I must be seeing things. Not that it was good, but Swore I saw that official put his arms up. Anyway, it's 21-9.
Well, Abington seems to like to roll their quarterback out to that right side. That seems to be their nice passing play.
Yeah, we did see Jeremy Goodwin roll to the left and complete a nice pass. He is a right-hander also, like Benson. But in this case, the quarterback sprinting out right as a clean sprint out. And John Connor got out of the backfield and straight down the sideline. Great job of tiptoeing the sideline and a great fingertip catch, as I said. So Abington showing some big play capability. Right back to Norristown.
Back deep for Norristown is Darrell Johnson, Troy Wittenberg, and Audley Stewart. Matt Johnson on the kickoff. He'll go to Johnson, who catches about the 10, falling backwards. Makes a nice move on one tackler. Can't get through everybody. It takes 3/4 of the team to bring him down.
Yeah, and a real nice kickoff that time by Matt Johnson. Drove it deep, drove it away from Troy Wittenberg and deep into the corner. That's where you want a ball, is deep into that corner. And Johnson was forced back to catch it at about his own 10-yard line. That's a pretty hefty kickoff. And Abington has pinned Norristown fairly deep.
I don't know what Norristown's going to do there. Can't exactly take 5 steps and be in the end zone now with 7:29 left in the second quarter. So Norristown sets the offense. Blake, the handoff to Swittenberg. Swittenberg gets out to the 30-yard line. Cut through a couple of holes there for a good gain.
And a big hole at the line of scrimmage, but again, just great lead blocking by Darrell Johnson. That time Johnson didn't lead Swittenberg into the hole, but really sealed it off as a man was coming off the end for Abington. And Darrell Johnson just locked him up. Troy Swittenberg was 5 yards past, and Darrell Johnson was still locked on his block. So nobody is touching Troy Swittenberg in that backfield. And Darrell Johnson, along with his offensive line, is making sure of it.
That's definitely the way the Norristown coaches and Norristown fans want to see it. Troy Swittenberg not even being touched. 2nd and 2. Now there's number 5, Audley Stewart. He'll break it to the outside for a big gain. It's at the 40. He'll be tackled at about the 32-yard line. Norristown Eagles mixing up. Bring in an Audley Stewart, and he broke it to the outside.
And on a play like that, where you have a guy who hasn't touched the ball yet that game, all you need to do is execute, and the line executed extremely well. Stewart started to the right side, and on the little counter, came back to the left, cut it across the field, and then good open field running was just run down by a couple of Abington defenders who took a nice angle at Audley Stewart. But really a great job of open field running, and it was pretty easy for him to get into the open field that time.
Norristown getting contributions from everybody right now. Audley Stewart with a huge gain. Brings Norristown down to about the 30-yard line of Abington. Blake looks up top. In and out of Hadrick's hands. With 25, Jim Johnson all over him on the coverage.
Yeah, and all over him in a good way. It was good coverage. And Trey Hadrick definitely likes to be a physical receiver. That time looked like he could have kept on going as he went up for that ball, and it was in his hands and over his head. But he likes to stop and get good position, and you like to see that because it's a guy who wants the ball and is going to do anything he has to within the rules to get that ball and prevent the other guy from getting it. So Trey Hadrick is a good target to go to any place on the field, that time showing the deep speed.
Norristown called for illegal procedure. Abington declined the penalty. So it'll be 2nd and 10.
And that's out of respect for Norristown's big playability that Abington would choose not to push them back but decline it.
Blake, the quick hitter up the middle of the Johnson. Abington seems to know that play.
Yeah, that's for sure. There is not much straight up the middle. It's got to come off the tackle either side, but straight up the middle, they are plugging it up pretty well. But it's still necessary for that change of pace. You have to get Darrell Johnson involved, and you have to go to all parts of that field, or else they will start to figure you out.
And oftentimes we've seen Norristown use that play effectively, and it really, as you said, does change the pace of the game.
And it's not a big yardage play, and it's not meant to be. It's sometimes you can spring it. We've seen Norristown run it in the past. A couple years ago, they ran it with James Kelly, who was a great blocking fullback, and gave him some carries. And you hope your fullback can maybe tough out 5 yards on that play and give you a third and mid-range, 5 or 6, to come after it and give you some options on third down. That time, Abington was ready for it and lost Johnson a yard, but Norristown certainly has shown that they have third and long plays in their playbook. And down here at the Abington 30-yard line, they can afford to take a chance.
While we have some time here, we want to thank the Norristown Area School District for bringing you this game. Mr. Tony Koya, Director of Communications, Mr. Sam Galbraith, Director and Producer tonight, and our camera people, Adrian Williams, Amy Gasson, and Jocelyn Hadrick. I'm Greg Fry here with Walt Fry, bringing you Norristown football tonight. 21-9 with 5:33 left in the second quarter. Norristown Eagles on top. So used to you guys mentioning my name as statistician, I almost said that I was the statistician, but 3rd and 10. Blake drops back to pass, looking over the middle. Terrell, and it's picked off. A lot of balls tapped up in the air tonight on receptions, and that appeared to be number 22, John Connor, on the interception.
And that time it was Justin Bingham, number 3 for Abington, who tipped that ball in the air. Was not tipped by the Norristown receiver, but Justin Bingham had real nice position. And the other corner, as Greg said, John Connor, was right there to bring it down. Still, though, maybe a misthrown ball, maybe a ball that should have been thrown, but Chris Blake felt the pressure coming, and another sign of maturity.
So a turnover by Norristown deep in Abington territory. A quick hitter up the middle appeared to be Dave Brooks. Now he'll get a couple of yards. And Walt, you definitely don't want to see that. You definitely don't want to see that play down there. You want to try and get at least something on the board when you get down there, and especially after a big play by Oily Stewart on that drive.
Yeah, but Norristown was at the 30-yard line. They're not inside that so-called red zone, inside the 20 yet. And they were looking to go down that seam, actually looking for Terrell again down the seam for the big play. And at this point, up 12 points, you can't really blame them.
You're right, it's been successful tonight. There we see Mike Ginyard, number 71, and Jimmy Davis, number 57, in on the tackle.
Mike Ginyard is generating a lot of power. We usually say those nose guards just kind of stand there and let guys run into them, just hold off their man. But Mike Ginyard is getting low and really driving forward. I mean, you don't see guys move back that often when they're hit by that nose guard, but Mike Ginyard shaking his block extremely quickly, and before that man even gets to the line of scrimmage, Ginyard's right there.
So Abington with a 3rd and 7 here. Send the man out to the far side and a man on the near side. This is Benson. On the pass attempt, he had his receiver, number 8, Dan Mayen, but just went through his hands.
And what a beautiful throw. Francis Benson rolling to the left and still on the move when he let that ball go. An extremely difficult pass, but right past the Norristown defender, and he hit Mayen in the hands, right on the line. Wouldn't have counted anyway.
Yeah, Francis Benson has really impressed us tonight. And ever since he's come in, we haven't seen any of Jeremy Goodwin. So Francis Benson, obviously, as we can tell by Abington putting points on the board on their last drive, doing something well.
I mentioned that wouldn't have counted anyway. There wasn't a legal procedure call, but of course on the incompletion, 3rd and 7, Norristown declines it, and Abington is going to be forced to punt on this play.
Hey, Walt, it's young in the football season. I'm trying to remember what all my penalty calls are.
We used to get those programs with the pictures of the little guy, but we don't get them anymore.
I used to have sticker books with that. We almost had a block kick there, but Hadrick having some problems back there. Still brings it out to the 46-yard line.
The pressure that time came from James Davis, and Trey Hadrick making a play that requires very good hands, as that ball took a real kick towards him off of the turf. And Trey Hadrick reached up to knock it down. Obviously nobody around him, so I guess worth the shot. But boy, you stick a hand up on a ball that's bouncing like that, you don't know where it's going to go. Luckily Trey Hadrick corralled it and got a few yards for the Eagles, who are across midfield.
Norristown once again with the ball. Blake the handoff to Swittenberg. Up the middle, cuts to the outside. Slowed down there. That's pretty much what Abington's got to do. They just got to slow him down, waiting for a couple other people to make a couple tackles.
And if that play looks familiar, you just saw Audley Stewart get a lot of yards on that play. It's that little counter, and obviously all those Norristown running backs are schooled to look for that cutback. Troy Swittenberg really sees it well. And as you start to the right side, that is a planned play because we've seen it before. Swittenberg cuts back to the left side, and there is a lot of open room so far tonight.
So once again, another big play for Norristown. First down from the 37, we'll call it. Blake to Swittenberg. Cut it to the outside. Man grabbed his shirt and he still fell forward for a couple of yards. Swittenberg looked like he was going up the middle and then just cut to that outside. And I think everybody on the opposite side kind of goes and holds their breath for a couple minutes when he does that.
Yeah, and that time Norristown went off the right side to mix it up a little bit. 8 yards, a very positive play for the Eagles.
Norristown moving the ball once again. Blake the handoff to Swittenberg. He'll go up the middle. He gets a first down. I gotta tell you, Walt, I don't think we'll see Troy Swittenberg lose the ball ever again, because that was a very rare mistake, and that is just something that he doesn't do often.
No. Again, the sign of a well-schooled running back. It's not just physical talent. He really knows how to run. Really runs well. You can see it in his running. You can see the way he protects the ball. It doesn't take a lot of unnecessary chances and still racks up a lot of yards. I have him over 100. Of course, I don't have a statistician. Thank you very much, but I have him over 100 yards tonight. Very good, very big first half.
I'm still a statistician at heart. Swittenberg for a couple of yards. Walt Norristown exclusively to Swittenberg on this drive.
Right, and it's 1:44 left to go to the half, so you can work Troy Swittenberg a little more here. He's going to get his rest, but at this point, looks like he might be wearing down a little bit, and you may see Norristown on 2nd and 9 look to someone else.
Once again, Norristown with their 2 receivers, Solomon on this side, Hadrick on the other side, in the I formation. Blake looks to pass. Finds Johnson out of the backfield. He'll cut inside, that's a touchdown. Great moves by Darrell Johnson after the catch. And Norristown, with a short pass, scores another touchdown.
Yet another way for Norristown to score. That's on the short pass and the run after the catch. I tell you, John Connor for Abington has been everywhere tonight. That time, the only place he was down, because Darrell Johnson just gave him a tremendous shake and put John Connor, who had a clean look at Johnson, onto the ground. A great run by fullback Darrell Johnson, and Chris Blake gave him a nice touch pass, a good pass to handle to turn upfield, and you see these Norristown backs and receivers looking the ball in. They're not trying to do too much with it, but when they do get it, they can do a lot.
And you have to be aware when your fullback's making moves like that, and Darrell Johnson with a great move to get into the end zone. Now Matt Spicko for the extra point. That one is up, but it's good. 28-9. Norristown with 1:04 left in the second quarter.
Well, Greg, no offense to any of those Abington running backs. They're certainly putting in a good effort tonight, but Darrell Johnson's a feature back on the Abington Ghosts. So we'll call him the fullback and usually think of that more as a non-running position. And Darrell Johnson, certainly only 11 carries coming into this year, but when you're the fullback, you see the things you can do. People aren't looking at you, and you can catch the ball out of the backfield. And all he needed was that open space, and he shows what he can do. And that's the kind of skills that would make him a feature back and makes it all the more admirable when you consider the blocking he's done tonight. Just an extremely versatile player, and really helps Troy Swittenberg get the numbers that he gets.
Well, Norristown's showing all their weapons tonight. We've seen the passing game, we've seen the running game, we've seen a lot of things tonight. And crowd seems to have filled out here tonight. Well, we got a lot of people here.
And offense will bring the people out. And this is an extremely exciting team. They've got 28 tonight after 2 straight 19-point games. So this crowd in the first half only seeing Norristown's best offensive output of the season.
Qualley again with a short kick. Abington players will pretty much fall on top of that one.
I'm not sure he felt quick enough.
Wait to see if Norristown got that ball. A lot of guys standing around the ball. And Abington recovers the ball. But that short kickoff, they seem to be having a lot of problems with that.
Yeah, they're going to have to adjust to that. Qualley has gone the same place twice now, short to that sideline, and they still haven't gotten it. Somebody has to come up and catch that ball. You just can't let it hit, because on that short kickoff, there's going to be a guy right on top of you. And the Norristown special teams that time, after seeing the last one, knows to race down that field because that ball might be loose. I'm sure that's something that Doug Moister will mention to his team at halftime.
With 1:01 left in the second half, Benson back to pass. He'll look to the opposite, back to the other side to Johnson, breaking a couple of tackles. And uh-oh, look out. Jimmy Johnson got to beat Hadrick, and he does for a touchdown. Jim Johnson with a great run after that catch. What a play by the Abington Ghost. And that's an easy, real quick way of putting 6 on the board.
And it needed to be quick. There was only 1:01 left when they started that play. 18 seconds later, you see Jim Johnson in the end zone on a long run after just a little dump pass out in the flat. I saw the man who Jim Johnson faked to the ground, and by the time he was in the end zone, I forgot who it was. But Trey Hadrick got blocked downfield. Great downfield blocking. Hadrick did all he could do. And then Johnson inexplicably cut back in front of Hadrick. Certainly, I don't think he was ready for that. Trey Hadrick was ready to take the angle on Johnson to the far side, and Johnson showing very smart running. Cut back in front of Hadrick, turned him around, and scoots into the end zone.
So Abington, having missed the extra point, will go for 2 here. Benson up the middle. Did they get it? They did not get the 2 points. Norristown defense stopping them on the goal line. Once again, a nice play by Norristown to come back, hold them to that. They get those 2 points, a couple of touchdowns, and they're up. Right now, or no, excuse me, I can't do my math, excuse me. I'm having some problems tonight, so.
Now you know why he's not our statistician anymore.
Yes, I was promoted, demoted, whatever you want to say, but. I looked down. I saw Jim Johnson make that play, and I looked down for a second. I looked up, and he had a lot of field open. And that's a real dangerous play coming back across the field with all the Norristown defenders on that side.
And a real smart play because Norristown, knowing that there's minute 1 second left in the game, or in the half, I'm sorry, Abington with over 70 yards to go, they're looking to cover deep. And Abington got blockers down the field and just dumped to Jim Johnson. And now we see that the Abington players also can do a lot with the ball when they get into open field. So yet another possibility for the Ghosts to try and come back in the second half. They see some weapons, and they're beginning to diversify their offense a little bit. I don't know if that play was designed to get the yardage it got, but Jim Johnson made the most of the open field.
Francis Benson has been very impressive in this game so far.
He's making the smart play. I mean, obviously, right there, he gets 70 yards passing. But obviously, that was just a little dump off. The key is pick the right guy, give it to him where he can do something with it, handle the ball well, don't give away the play. And Benson has done all of that so far.
Now Matt Johnson to kick off for the Abington Ghosts. with 43 seconds left in the first half. Deep men again are Johnson, Stewart, and Swittenberg. Ball was intended to go to Johnson, and a bad mistake by the Abington Ghosts, kicking the ball out of bounds.
Right. That's going to bring the ball up to the 35 for the Eagles on the out-of-bounds kickoff. And with 43 seconds left, a couple of timeouts, the Norristown can maybe do something with it now. What you want to do is try and get them back at least behind the 30, where they're thinking, boys, 70 yards and maybe trying to throw the ball deep. You can possibly get a turnover. Oh, we have a legal procedure on the kickoff. So that's going to bump it up to the 40. No, I'm sorry. That's going to still stay at the 35. Norristown's going to take the play, of course, and decline the penalty.
Norristown with 43 seconds left. Send Ernie Terrell out on the other side, and Damian Solomon and Trey Hadrick on this side. Blake on the draw to Swittenberg. He's ripped down by a couple of Abington defenders. You're trying to work the draw play there, Walt.
That's a good play in this situation, since you have just a few guys coming upfield for the Ghosts and everybody else dropping back into coverage. So early in this sequence, when you have about 43 seconds left, you can maybe get 10, 15 yards out of that. Now you're looking at a couple more big plays and maybe a field goal from Matt Spitko. In that case, Abington defended it well, and they'll give up 3 yards every play from here on out.
Well, second down. The last play of the first half. Swittenberg will go up the middle for a few yards, and that'll be it. So Norristown, very impressive, but Abington, with a late score, put themselves right back into this game, and they got to think that they might have a little bit of an opportunity coming into the second half with that late touchdown. So, folks, we're going to take a break here, and we'll be back in a little bit for the third quarter action.